And you're actually kind of looking around. So we come check you guys out.
Well,
It's a major topic for everyone. Looking around. So thank you for welcoming us.
absolutely.
But that,
Just send it to Jeff.
and now they got the truck. I sent back something to the church. Yes, I have.
Well, actually, it's my favorite thing. The one thing I think that I really love without any hesitation was if my partner making it. It's not as messy as making it. Oh, no. That's the second. You just. So did I hear you were doing very good? What are you studying? If I can go back and study something, I can have Are you hoping to? Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, you know, hey, it all starts there. That's very exciting. I forgot about that.
And I put them together. Like together.
I just realized, is that a chemistry keyboard? Oh.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's reversible too.
It's reversible, so you can like, it's a catalyst for all kinds of That's wonderful.
Sit with me too, it's fine, it's whatever, you don't have to sit with me, but you can't sit with me. Never comes to synagogue, not sit with me, it's just.
What's that?
Yes.
Clearly can't sit by myself after I have issues with being.
And then put them together on the ground. Just a big one.
Does not get cold tomorrow. It's all everyone will hear about it. The world will hear it. It's too hot. It's too hot.
All right, would you get us started with the Flower Mound? Start, yeah.
Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da.
Well, Shabbat Shalom to you in here, to you out there, and to everyone. Welcome to this little bit of Jewish paradise happening for us. My hope is that for everyone, that this service will help fulfill just a little bit of the promise of the Sabbath for you all. So it's our custom here. We've got some visitors, so I'm not going to put them on the spot. But it's our custom here at Kol Ami to start out with a little bit of tohu vracha, a little bit of good and blessing, things that are happening at the community level that we want to acknowledge. So I'm going to start out with a couple of birthdays. We've got a number of people who celebrated their birthday this past week. Devin Aurora and Dominic Bourne, Deborah Kaufman, Gavin McDaniel, Aaron Bernstein, Siegfried Frankel, and Deb Lett. So who else might have a good and blessing to share with us? Doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be a small thing. I had a very nice Reuben sandwich tonight before Shabbat. So, you know, that can qualify as my good and blessing. How about everybody else? Yes. Mazel tov. So can you give us a preview of what you'll be doing?
I'm going to be working in information security as a business analyst back in finance.
Sounds awesome. All right. Who else has good and blessing to report? Anybody? Oh, come on. Yes, Hannah.
My parents came in to visit this weekend.
Oh, lovely. When isn't it not wonderful to have family come in for the weekend, then go? Yeah, no, it's fantastic. All right, and how about for you, my dear?
I was able to find a kasha knish in North Texas, which was a really big discovery.
Oh, tell, where?
Tom and Richardson, it wasn't fantastic. They didn't know they had kasha knishes there. But I was gonna not make it if I didn't find one, so I found one.
Right, so as Moses would say, Mayim b'midbar, when you encounter water in the desert, it may not be great water, but it's water. So, and Richardson, that's a bit of a schlep.
Yeah, it was a rough day.
Okay,
But, yeah.
all right, but it had its moment.
Kosher deli.
Yeah,
Richardson.
fantastic.
They won't tell you they know what kasha dishes are. They'll say they have spinach, but it is kasha.
Fair enough. Anybody else want to offer a good and blessing? I'm just going to spot the visitors for a moment just to share your names with us.
Okay.
McKay,
Dana.
and Dana,
Lewis.
and Lewis, and we're delighted that you're here with us. So we're going to get our service started with the kindling of Shabbat lights on page 1. And it's my privilege to invite Melissa up to kindle those lights. So if you go to page 1, evening Shabbat service.
In the beginning, when the Spirit of God hovered over the darkness, God's first creation was light. As we kindle these Shabbat lights, we attest to the majesty of God's work and rejoice in its beauty. Light is a symbol of divinity and creative goodness. It is the outward sign of that inner spark which God has granted for each of us. In hope and with love, we now welcome Shabbat with light. Maybe. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tivanu lahapik ner shel Shabbat. Praised are you, Adonai, whose presence fills the world, who hallows us with mitzvot and inspires us to kindle Shabbat lights. May God bless us with Shabbat joy. May God bless us with Shabbat holiness. May God bless us with Shabbat peace. Amen.
Shaking hands these days. Oh, yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to turn now to page 2, Kabbalat Shabbat, the small ritual that we do at the beginning of every evening service, that we welcome the Sabbath metaphorically into our presence. We do it with Psalms, and then we do it with Lecha Dodi, where we acknowledge, and for the guests, just be aware that when we do Lecha Dodi for the final stanza, we stand up and face the door. All right, and I'm probably going to call on Harold and the ever-reliable Don to be our ushers for Shabbat, all right? So we begin with Psalm 95 on page 2.
Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, l'Adonai. Noria, Noria, letzor yishenu nekadma fanav betoda. Noria, Noria, letzor yishenu bizimro naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, l'Adonai.
We turn now to Psalm 96, the middle of the page. Yismechu hashemayim v'targel haaretz v'yiram hayam umalo'o. Let the heavens rejoice and the earth exult. Let the sea and all within it thunder. The fields and everything in them exult. And then shall all the trees of the forest shout for joy at the presence of Adonai. For God is coming to rule the earth. God will rule the world justly and his peoples faithfully. Psalm 97. Adonai reigns, let the land exult and the many islands rejoice. Dense clouds surround God. Righteousness and justice are the foundation of God's throne. God's lightning illumines the world, and light is sown for the righteous, radiance for the upright of heart. O you who are righteous, rejoice in Adonai and acclaim God's holy name. We turn now to Psalm 99, Ramemu.
Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtakavu lehar kodsho. Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtakavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Ramemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Ramemu. Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtakavu lehar kodsho. Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtakavu lehar kodsho.
Psalm 29 in English. Ascribe to Adonai, you children of God. Ascribe to Adonai glory and strength. Ascribe to Adonai the glory of God's name, and worship Adonai in the beauty of holiness. May Adonai give strength to this people. May Adonai bless this people with peace. We continue now with Lecha Dodi, page 7, for those who need orientation.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nehekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nehekabela. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nehekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nehekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem hu tiferet l'tithila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nehekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nehekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki hi mekor habracha, mihirosh mikedem nesucha, sof maaseh b'machshava tila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nehekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nehekabela. Hi torari, Ki va'oreku miori, Yori shidaberi, Kevod Adonai ha'yiknigla. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nehekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nehekabela. Bohui v'shalom ahateret bala, Gam besimcha uvtohola, Tohu kemune gam segula, Boi chala. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nehekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nehekabela.
So rouse yourself, for your light has come. Arise, shine, awaken, and give forth a song. The glory of Adonai is revealed to you. So come in peace, you crown of your husband, with rejoicing and with joy, to those who are faithful, a treasured people. Come, O Shabbat, come, O bride. We're going to go now to page 9 with the Hatzi Kaddish.
Yitkada v'yitkada shmei Rabba.
Amen.
Yamad yivrach yirutev yamlik malkutev. V'cha yechan uv'yomechan uv'kayede kol beit Yisrael. Bagala uv'izman kariv v'yimaru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarak, Le'alam u'me'amalya yitbarak. Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh v'yithada v'yithale v'yithala shemed hudasha barihu leila min kol birkata v'shirata tushbikata v'nechemata damihiram b'yama b'maru amen.
Some of us can rise in body, others of us can rise in spirit. I invite you all to rise for the Baruch.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed.
Ma'ariv Aravim, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokma poteh sha'arim, u'bitunam mishaneh itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'msader et hakokavim, v'mishmerotehem barakia kirotzono. Orei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei hoshech, v'hoshech mipnei or, u'mavdir yom u'bein vi layla, u'mavdil bein yom u'bein layla. Adonai tzvaot shemo, El Chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. May God govern us always to the end of time. Praised are you, Adonai, who makes the evening fall. Ahavat olam. Unending is your love for your people, Israel. Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts you've taught us. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and rejoice in your Torah and mitzvot forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life and the length of our days. And then your love shall never depart from our hearts. Blessed is Adonai, who loves the people Israel.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vahed.
Please be seated, and I invite you to join me in reading together the English of the Via Hafta. You shall love Adonai your God with all your mind, with all your soul, with all your being. These words which I command you this day shall be upon your heart. Teach them diligently to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be a symbol before your eyes. Write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them, and so shall you consecrate yourselves to your God. I, Adonai, am your God, who led you out of Egypt to be your God. I, Adonai, am your God. Emet ve'emunah kol zot v'kayam aleinu, ki hu Adonai Eloheinu ve'en zulato ve'nachnu Yisrael amo. It is true and enduring, beloved and precious, good and beautiful, an eternal teaching. This truth we hold to be forever certain. Adonai is our ruler, the rock of Jacob, shield of our salvation. Adonai, our God, you redeemed us from Egypt. You set us free from the house of bondage. For this, the people who felt your love sang songs of praise to you. Living God, high and exalted, mighty and awesome, who humbles the proud, raises the lowly, who frees the captive and redeems the oppressed, who is the answer to all who cry out to you. All praise to God Most High, the source of blessing. And like Moses and Israel, we sing this song of rejoicing. Micha Mocha.
Yai rai 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 yai rai rai pim bam yai rai 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 yai rai rai pim bam yai rai 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 yai rai rai pim bam yai rai 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 yai rai rai pim bam mihi chamocha bailim Adonai mihi chamocha nedar b'kodesh Nora tehilo tosefele, Nora tehilo tosefele, yai dai 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 dai, yada dai dai bim bam, yai dai 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 dai, yada dai dai bim bam, yai dai 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 dai, yada dai dai bim bam, yai dai 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 dai, yada dai dai bim bam.
When your children saw your might at the shore of the sea, this is my God, they proclaimed, Adonai shall reign forever. And now we take a moment out from our communal reflections for a little prayer for the end of night, Hashkibenu. Hashkibenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim, ufros aleinu, sukat shlomecha. Tonight, grant that we lie down in peace, Adonai, our God, and tomorrow raise us up, O sovereign, to a life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, and for your name's sake, be our help. Shield us from hatred and plague. Keep us from war, famine, and anguish. Subdue our inclination to evil. O God, our guardian and helper, our gracious and merciful sovereign, give us refuge in the shadow of your wings. O guard our coming and our going, that always we have life and peace. We praise you, O God, whose sukkah of peace is spread over us, over all your people, and over Jerusalem. We come now to Tefillah. Hey, Shabbat Shalom, Greg. And again, if able, please rise.
Adonai sefatit hiftahu fiya itahilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'Emoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagimor v'Hanora, El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh hakol, v'zocher chasdei avot v'imahot, u'mevi gula livnei v'neihem, l'man shemo b'yavha, melech ozer u'moshiach magen. Baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah, atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mekayeh hakol atara l'shia, Mekakeh chaim b'chesed, Mekayeh hakol b'rachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofeh koholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayehim emunato l'shenei afar, Michamo kabal geburot, Umidol mehela, Melech memit umekayeh, Umatzmiat Yeshua, Leman atah lechayot hako, Baruch atah Adonai, Ayeh hako, atah kadosh v'shemcha kadosh, Ukdoshim v'kol yom yalot selah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
You may be seated. Just as Shabbat is the pivot of our week, so too the pivot in this part of our service is our prayer for Shabbat. If you go to page 21, we're going to be doing Yismechu v'Malachutacha. And just so that our visitors are aware, we do this as a call and response. You'll figure it out very quickly how this works. Ready?
Yismechu v'Malachutecha, Shomre, Shomre, Shomre Shabbat v'Koreh Honeg Shabbat. Yismechu v'Malachutecha, Shomre, Shomre, Shomre Shabbat v'Koreh Honeg Shabbat. מקדשי שבי שבת, כולם יספהו ויתענגו מטובך שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ובהשביעי רצית בו וקדשתו שבת. חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת.
Among the most precious gifts of life is the gift of being accepted. And so it is in our second to last prayer, we ask God to accept our intentions and our hopes and dreams for the future. Great say, Adonai, our God, show favor towards your people Israel and lovingly receive our prayers. May the worship of your people always be acceptable to you, for you alone do we hold in reverence. And Moedim, we give thanks to you, Adonai, our God, God of our ancestors. You are the rock of our lives, the shield of our salvation for all generations. We thank you and we recite your praises. Let all the living affirm you and praise your name as the God of our salvation and help. Praised are you, Adonai. Goodness is your name. All praises to you. And then we close out with the greatest of all blessings, peace, Shalom Rav, page 23. After we're done, we're going to take just a moment or two for our own silent reflections and prayers and meditations.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasihim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasihim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lecho hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lecho hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasihim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasihim Leolam. V'tov b'necha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol het u'v'chol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasihim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasihim Leolam. tasihim leolam, tasihim leolam. Use shalom bimroma. Uyase shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. V'himru, v'himru, amen. Use shalom bimroma. Uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'himru, v'himru, amen. Yahase shalom, Yahase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yahase shalom, Yahase shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yahase shalom, Yahase shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yahase shalom, Yahase shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yahase shalom, Yahase shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ose shalom bimroma. Uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'himru, v'himru, amen.
So, those of you who are unfortunate enough to be on my Facebook page and be a Facebook friend, get a little taste of my stranger side. I love dad jokes, I love puns, I love little videos of animals, I like snarky things, and I post them all. And lately, one of the things I've been doing is what I call 1,000 perfect things. And these are my little rants about things that I think are already perfect, that people either feel the need to improve on or they don't fully appreciate what they are. So, for example, my first one was on the lemon pancake at Old West Cafe. That is among the most perfect things in the world. And for some reason, they decided to put all this sugary drizzle on it. I don't understand it. So now I have to beg them not to put the drizzle on in order for me to enjoy my perfect pancake. All right. Then I talked about turtlenecks. Now the temperature has turned a little hot for turtlenecks. Turtlenecks are just one of those perfect things when the weather is cold. Another one that I want to talk about are these chem sticks or glow sticks or light sticks. These things are awesome. All right. No, they're awesome. You leave them in the glove compartment of your car, or you set them aside for the next bar mitzvah, and they just sit there waiting for you. And then all you have to do is do this, and suddenly, fantastic light. I mean, it's just, you just want to stare at it, right? And sometimes you can get them with multiple colors on them. They're glorious. And, it's one of those things. And if your car has broken down, or you're stuck in the back of your house and you don't have light, or you're just, raving at the bar bat mitzvah, it's perfect. It's perfect. But it comes with an irony. And that irony is, in order for it to achieve its full perfection, you have to break it. All right. Now, I actually think that's part of its perfection, because do you remember breaking crayons when you were a child and how satisfying that was? Right. Well, this is the same thing. You get to break it and then it becomes even better. So I love that. That's the importance that I want to talk about, the power of broken things. There have always been Jews with the power of art to turn pain into beauty. And in particular tonight, I want to talk about someone who I haven't talked about in the weeks since the events happened at Congregation Beth Israel, and that is Rabbi Charlie Citron Walker, because he's one of those people. The power of faith to turn pain and discomfort and terror into chesed, into loving kindness and generosity. That is an amazing talent. Faith is at the very heart of people who are able to do that. And I don't know if Charlie believes that God spared him for a purpose, but I do know that Rabbi Charlie Citron Walker has found purpose in his adversity. He has been given by God a success for a purpose also. I know Charlie's for 16 years, modest, generous, relentlessly kind, soft-spoken, effectively everything I am not. And just a delightful person. But he's only become, in the face of this adversity, more of who he always was, striving even harder to make things around him better. Given what has not gone well, the question he has no doubt asked himself is, what does God want me to learn from this? What now that this has happened, does God ask of me? And that mindset has been with him since we first met. And he has been that way for many, many years. Now I know, and we can see that though through him, a terrifying and traumatizing experience can be translated into a moment of courage. And you can see him now on television. You can see him talking to Congress. You can see him talking to our state legislature, bringing the message of added security to small congregations like this. He laid bare the issues that we face, and I think he's doing a wonderful job. Now, he's doing all of this in the midst of looking for another placement. So, I mean, it's a huge load, but he's doing it with such poise and such kindness. Now, that I think speaks to our Parsha. Our Parsha begins with the words, command the Israelites to bring your clear olive oil, crushed for light. That's literally the phrasing in the Hebrew, crushed for light, so that the lamp may always burn. The sages noticed this wording and immediately drew a comparison between the olive and the Jewish people. Rabbi Joshua ben Levi asked, why is Israel compared to an olive? Just as an olive is initially bitter, who has not met a bitter Jew, but then eventually sweet, so Israel suffers the present, but great good is stored up for them in the time to come. And just as the olive only yields its oil by being squeezed, as it is written, clear olive oil crushed for the light, so Israel only fulfills its full potential for the Torah when it is pressed by adversity. The oil, of course, was for the ancient menorah, whose perpetual light, first in the sanctuary and then in the temple, represented God's presence in the world. But now, we don't have a temple. So how can that light still be manifest? The medieval mystic Nachmanides wrote about this very thing concerning all the features of our ancient temple. He said, and therefore a man from the holy nation is like the tabernacle, comprised of all the structures and processes of creation. He, that is the human being, is the model and plan of the tabernacle and the temple and all of its utensils, organized according to the plan of the limbs and the organs, and the components and the sinews and all of their powers. And therefore the Zohar, that is the great book of Jewish mysticism, details the entirety of the plans of the tabernacle and its utensils, for they all hint at us in a one-and-one correspondence. For this reason, definitely the focal point of holiness in the Holy Temple and the appearance in a particular place of the godly presence is no less than humanity itself. For if a person makes himself as holy as possible by fulfilling the commandments, then he becomes the actual temple, and within him dwells God. As the scriptures say, and I will dwell within them. It does not say among them, it says rather within them. And so it is the light of the menorah stands for the more mystical light that shines in every holy place, life and deed. It symbolizes the divine light that floods the universe for those who see it through the eyes of faith. To produce this light, sometimes something has to be squeezed, broken, or crushed. And herein lies our lesson from this portion. Suffering is not celebrated in Judaism. I think we all wish what happened to CBI never happened. And in an ideal world, that would be the case. It is not a good suffering or a value in itself. We are not encouraged to seek out misery or affliction in Judaism. And Judaism makes no bones about it. The Talmud gives an account of various sages who at different times in their life fell ill. And each time when asked, "Are your sufferings precious to you?" each one of them responded, "Neither they nor their reward." I don't suffer because God wants me to suffer. When bad things befall us, or someone close to us, that can easily lead us to despair. Alternatively, we can be very English about it. We can be stiff upper lip, we can be stoic, but that's not really what the Jewish tradition commands us. Rather, it commands us a third possibility. We can respond as Rabbi Charlie Citron Walker has responded, with compassion, with generosity, with kindness and love, and an ever greater sense of mission in the world. We can become like the olive, which, when crushed, produces the pure oil that produces, in turn, a light of holiness. When bad things happen to good people, there is no question our faith is challenged. That is really, I believe, a proper response. It is not being unfaithful to God to say, "I don't understand, why should this happen to me?" Doubt, as we like to say in our movement, is the handmaiden of faith. And to question God is, in fact, a Jewish imperative. Abraham asked, "Shall the judge of all the earth not do justice?" Moses asked, "Why have you done harm to this people?" Yet in the end, the wrong question to ask is, why has this happened? We can never fully understand that. There is simply not enough data in our world for us to explain suffering in a way that will mitigate it and make it disappear. We are not God, nor should we aspire to be. The right question is, given what has happened to us, what then shall we do? To this answer, the answer is not a thought, but in the best Jewish tradition, a deed. It is to heal what can be healed. It is to protect what can be protected. Medically, in the case of the body, psychologically, in the case of the mind, spiritually, in the case of the soul. Our task is to bring light to the dark places of our own and other people's lives. This is the light of brokenness. This is the light that is in itself a kind of perfect thing. That is what Rabbi Charlie Citron Walker is trying to do right now. Though crushed, he radiates light. Let no one imagine that this is in any way easy for him, that he's different from you or me. Any one of us would be struggling, as I'm sure he is, with what has happened. Anyone who has stood on the brink of death, whether by illness or the brutality of others, are left wondering and left perhaps shaken. Yet, shining on after a time of darkness is the supreme act of faith. It is precisely here in that we feel faith's power to change our lives and even to change the world. As Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, Zichron Livracha, once wrote, just as great art can turn pain into beauty, so great faith can turn pain into love and holy light. So I hope each of us can find a path to take our discomfort, our suffering, our tragedies, and turn it into a great light that in time will illumine the whole world. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
So it's time for our announcements now. And our officer for that is the beloved Ephraim, our building guy who keeps the building standing. Yay. No one does a more important job than you, sir.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Okay. We have many that were blessed with a birthday this last week. Devin Aurora, Dominic Bourne, Deborah Kaufman, Gavin McDaniel, Aaron Bernstein, Siegfried Frankel, and Deborah Leda. So happy birthday, belated. We have plenty of announcements this time around. We have the CKA blood drive. Help us give the gift of life by donating blood at our quarterly blood drive on March 12th from noon until 4. Carter Blood Care asks that you sign up in advance so they can manage the process more effectively. There are still time slots available, so please sign up using the link on the website. If you have any questions, please contact Melissa Hart, our blood drive coordinator. Also, we have calling all Purim players. We need players for our Purim spiel. The rabbi has written something that requires a big cast.
It needs a big cast.
So we need plenty of volunteers. It is always a ton of fun, and there are no expectations to your theatrical abilities. It is just a great way to celebrate the holiday, retell the story of Esther, and bring fun and excitement to the festivities. Rehearsals will be February 19th and 26th, and March 5th and 12th, with a performance on March 18th. If you would like to help out, and we hope you do, please email Rabbi and let him know that you would want to join. Anything else to add?
No, I don't think I'm going to add anything. What's that?
Shabbat dinner, March 4th.
Shabbat dinner, March 4th. Is
That's coming up.
It's coming up.
You're ahead of me.
You're stealing his thunder.
Okay. Yeah, this is a 2-pager, so I'm really impressed. So civilian response to active shooter events. Okay. In light of the recent events and as part of our ongoing security committee efforts to ensure the security is the best it can be, we are working with the Flower Mound Police Department to conduct their, now the name I don't know, CRAS, which is Civilian Response to Active Shooter Events program for us. As noted by Rabbi Charlie Citron Walker during his terrible experience a few weeks ago, preparation and training were key in their escape and hostage taker. In trying to follow the proven model, we are working with the Flower Mound Police Department to ensure everything we have is in place, is coordinated with them, and that we have the training we all need in case we ever have to face a horrible situation here at CKA.
That's what I'll do.
To help us manage headcount, please RSVP using the form on the website. Contact Bob in the office if you have questions or concerns. We hope to see you March 3rd. This was pushed back from prior, so it is March 3rd for this great program created by Flower Mound Police Department. Sisterhood event at Color Me Mine. Please join the Sisterhood at Color Me Mine here in Highland Village. On Sunday, February 27th, from 4 to 6 p.m. We will be painting either Seder plates for Elijah, or, Seder plates or Elijah's cup to prepare for Passover. The cost is between $25 and $45, depending on what you chose to paint. Goblets are $25, while the larger plate is $45. We will have the private room in the back. We hope all will join us. Please RSVP to Carly Wisniewski. NCKA Shabbat Dinner. On the first Shabbat of each month, we invite you to join the Shabbat dinner before services. Each month, there will be a kosher style dinner starting at 6:30 p.m. Since we had to cancel February dinner due to the weather we had, we will begin our community Shabbat dinner on March 4th. We hope you can join us for our monthly community event. It is a great opportunity for fun, fellowship, and getting to know your fellow Kol Amites. As always, you can find all specific details of the announcements and everything else you might need to know on there we go.
All right.
Mishabir, right. May the ones blessed our ancestors also bless Harry Anthony, Joyce Bloom, Natalie Bovino, Sandy Cook, Mark Davis, Denise Gladfelter, Michelle Griffith, Debbie Grungen, Jody Hoffman, Carol Jones, Molly Clegg, Joseph Katz, Debbie Kaufman, Lauren Koenig, Alex Koenig, Gina LaMonica, Deb Lennon, Phyllis Borley, Shirley Lunsford, Richard McGill, Liz Nura, Paul Redwood Jr., Gene Rosenberg, Sandy Gerber Rubin, Adrian Sandler, Mira Schusler, Dave Seaver, Happy Waterman, and Pearl Williams, and Allison Selensky.
Sue Berger, Tom Holiday, Eric Jefferson, and Deb Blake.
Thank you.
Bernie Lewis.
Thank you.
Love it, Jess.
Misheberak avotenu mekor habraka limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberak imotenu mekor habraka lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
One other thing, I've completed all of my usual fall classes on Wednesday and Thursday nights, and now I have all this free time I feel like I've got to fill. So after consulting with the book club ladies, I've decided I want to add a Jewish nonfiction monthly book club group that'll meet probably on Wednesday nights. I'll be posting information about it, but I hope you're interested. Our first book is going to be People Love Dead Jews. It's a great title, and it's actually quite a good book. So we'll start there, and we'll go to other slightly more cheerful things, and we'll just carry on until the summer comes. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to turn to page 82. And of course, I always like to pull someone out of the congregation because they've done something wonderful or good. But I'm going to pick on Adrian this time because I've held her pie plate for far too long. And as an atonement for keeping her pie plate, I want her to come on up and open the ark with me. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise.
Aleinu leshabeach ladon hako, latekru la liotzer reshi, shelo asanu kaveh haratzot, velo samanu k'mitzvahot hadama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'kohor aleinu kechor hamonam. Ve'anachnu korim u'mishtakavim u'modim lifnei melech malkei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu notei shamayim v'yoseh haaretz u'moshav yikaro v'shamayim nimaho u'shkinatu zo Ve'rohe merohoni Hu Eloheinu Eino Emet Malkeinu Efes Zulato Kakatu Betorato Virata Hayom Behashivota Elevavecha Ki Adonai Hu Elohim Ashamayim mimao v'yaharetz mitachat enho. Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo U'shemo echad.
The leaves fall. They fall from afar. They fall with slow and lingering descent. And in the night, the heavy earth too falls from out of the stars into the solitude. Thus, all must fall. This hand of mine must fall, and lo, the other. It is the law. But there is one who holds the falling infinitely softly in his hand, in her hands. And so it is we recall with love and gratitude and appreciation the names of those whom we have lost, whether it be recently, as well as those whose anniversaries of death occur this week. I begin with Shiva. We have no one on our list, but if there is someone who's lost a loved one in the last week, please share the name with us. On Shloshim, we continue to mourn for Laura Levy, the mother of Deborah Greenberg, who died this past month. Is anybody else in Shloshim? This week, we want to honor these individuals connected to this community whose yahrzeits occur. George Bond, Al Bornstein, David Epstein, Herschel Feldman, Philip Glick, Katie Jarrett, Jack Mortal, Gil Moscow, and Dolly Cutliff Neff. Is there anyone else observing a yahrzeit? We hope for those who remember these individuals that their memories grow sweet with the passing years. And we want to show our sympathy and support to them by turning to page 85 and rising together as a community to recite Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach yurute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. B'galal uv'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevorach le'olam u'lamei almayim. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha b'richu ve'elam in kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechmata damiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba mim shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Osei shalom b'mroma uyasei shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace that makes peace in places far beyond our understanding make peace for those who mourn and comfort all the bereaved. And let us say, please be seated. We thought we would close out with the classic Adon Olam, page 93. And page 94, if you're looking for the transliteration. As always, the first impulse of Jewish theology is to turn it into a song. And that's what we do here. So, Adon Olam.
Adon Olam Hashem Allah B'terem kol yitzir nivra Li'ed nasa v'chetzo kol Azad melech Shemo nikra V'acharei kichlot hakol Levado himlok nora V'hu haya v'hu Hove vehu yeh betifara vehu echad v'hen sheni v'hamshilo le'akbira beli reshi beli takli v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra vehu eli v'chai goali v'torchev li b'het Sahara, vehu nisi humanos li, menakosi biyom hekra biyado, afkid ruchi, b'het ishan b'ha'ira, b'him ruchi gihati, Adonai li, Vilhohira.
I place my soul within God's hand before I sleep and when I wake, and though my body I forsake, I rest in Adonai in fearless calm. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. As always, we have our individually packed oneg waiting for you after Kiddush, so please come join us in Onegi Hall. And always, we are appreciative of you, my friend. Thank you so much. Follow the lights.
Thank you.